Hey guys, welcome to my January 25th DVD update, where I talk about all the DVDs and Blu-rays I've gotten over the last 3 weeks. And before I start the DVD update, check out the link on the side of this video if you get a chance. It's talking about a movie that I'm going to be acting in March. It's basically going to be like a throwback, like Revenge of the Nerds 80s style film. If any of you are interested in helping be executive producers on the film, basically you're going to get copies of the film, be able to write lines of dialogue for the film. Like I said, it's like 80s lines you can write. You get, like I said, you get copies, name in the credits, IMDb, all that. Basically check that out, and it's helping to bring in, like, we're looking to bring in a really cool 80s actor as well as a couple B-movie actors as well with the whatever we can raise to do that. And it's for low-budget pictures who recently put out Taint Light and a number of different titles. Definitely check them out and check out the link on the side, and anything's a big help with that. And the first DVD I'm going to talk about is from Happy Madison's, who put out Grandma's Boy. It's Adam Sandler's company. They produced a lot of things, and I guess they're trying to do a direct-to-DVD line, because this is only on DVD, the direct-to-DVD line with this Scary Madison Productions, and it's called The Shortcut. And it starts out with this couple on prom night. This guy's getting like fresh with this girl, and then they end up getting, the one ends up getting killed. The one girl ends up getting killed by this weird kid in the woods. Then it starts like I guess 30 years later or something, 40 years later, something like that. And these two kids move in to this new neighborhood, and the one kid is at school, and these kids are bothering him. He's like, we dare you to walk through this shortcut. It's closed up. It's real dangerous, and there's a scary guy down there. So the one kid goes down there and sees this weird guy like creeping around in the woods, and you think maybe it's that same guy, you don't know. And then he sees this dead dog, and then later, like, the older brother goes to investigate, and it becomes this weird thing, and like, the weird guy out in the woods is like after them. So it's an interesting thing. The one guy in it, he's not on the cover, but he's in a lot of the movie. He always has the same look in everything he's been in lately. He was in like Jennifer's Body, and he was in I Love You, Beth Cooper. And the thing that's weird about the guy is he's always wearing the same outfit. I know I always wear the same thing as well. But this is in different movies from different companies. He's always wearing this like sports football jersey. It's almost like either it's his or something, where he's like, I won't do the movie unless I can wear that outfit. And if you look, he's wearing the same thing in every movie. I don't understand it. It's very weird. It's the same football, some kind of team thing. I guess it's his. I don't know. This movie's worth checking out. It's not bad. The twist is interesting. I sort of you figure it out kind of early, but it's not bad. The one girl from this is from the show The Riches. It's definitely worth checking out. The next one I got, I think this one was supposed to come. I think this came to theaters and had a really, really limited run and didn't go many places. And it's Carriers, and it has the one guy, Chris Pine, who's in the Star Trek new remake film. It's not really a remake; it's kind of like its own new thing. But this is a movie that's kind of like an H1N1 kind of virus, the swine flu kind of thing. And the movie starts off interesting. Like, I already knew, they were like, there's this virus going on and half the world was dead. But the way the movie starts, it just starts off like these group of people going on a road trip, and then all of a sudden they stop and there's this car on the road going, "We need help." And basically, though, there's this virus going around, and if you touch the person, you can get it. You have to disinfect everything with bleach, and like if someone breathes on you, if they get blood on you, you've got it, and you end up like dying this terrible death. And the one girl in it was that Piper Perabo, or I don't know never how to say her name, but she was in the Rocky and Bullwinkle movie and a bunch of stuff. I haven't seen her in a while, though. This is like the first thing I've seen her in like that I recognize her in a while. This is a decent End of the World. It's kind of like a 28 Days Later, End of the World, and like the people become sort of these zombie-ish. Not like 28 Days Later where they attack you. They just sort of become just really, really sick, and it's definitely worth checking out. I really like this thing. It's a lower budget type one of these things, but I really liked it. The next one I got, this is like one of those blind buys. Like, I always get these things from Lionsgate, these weird horror movies they put out. And this one, it's just called Reborn, and I had no idea, and there's no sign or mention at all about this, that this is a sequel. Like, what? It's actually a sequel to something else called, like, Born or something. And this thing was really pretty bad. It was basically this couple that moves into this little, like, they move into this junkyard. For some reason, this guy thinks it's a good idea to move into this junkyard. He's going to, like, start a business there. It's in the middle of nothing. He's like, well, they're going to build a highway down here, and, we're going to have a lot of business soon. I'm like, I don't know about that. And David C. Hayes, who was cool in this, he's like the weird guy watching the cameras in this. He's kind of like the pervert. And he basically kidnaps the girl, ties her up into this like death machine thing, and says to the guy, like, you have to do what I say. If anyone comes to this land, you kill him. And then he gets like his face burned by these criminals that come on the land, and then all of a sudden this guy just sort of loses his mind and starts like drilling metal into himself and making this really weird suit. It becomes very strange. It kind of reminded me of like the end of Return of the Living Dead 3. I feel like a lot of directors have been influenced by that look and like try and do that same thing. I have not seen the original of this film, nor do I really want to. This is not too good at all. I know some people say, Sean, you never seem to dislike anything. I didn't like that. And this film I got, it's from Joe Eckerd, and I saw his film, I think it was How High Hopes, Jason Mewes film, which I really liked. And he sent me this one to review, which I've never seen. It's on actor Danny Trejo. It's a documentary he did. And I believe you can get this everywhere on Amazon. And if he has a site or anything, I'll put that on there if I can find it. But it's basically talks about Danny Trejo, and if those of you who didn't know, Danny Trejo had like a rough life growing up, and like he was in jail for years, and he changed his whole life around, and then he became an actor years later. The way he became an actor, I don't want to ruin anything about this. This is definitely a thing to check out, especially if you like Danny Trejo. And Danny Trejo's going to be in the upcoming Machete film. He's done a lot of movies. Machete, though, I'm really looking forward to. And this thing I got because it was $5. It's 20 movie star films, studded celebrity pack. First it looked like Gary Busey on the front. It's Nick Nolte, like a really strange shot of him, in bad quality. And it's like got a whole bunch of these movies on this. I'm sure I have most of them already. And I have a lot of Blu-rays coming up. Yeah, I was thinking like with this update, a lot of people have been changing their titles to my DVD/Blu-ray collection. I don't know if I want to change it or not. I feel like I just like my DVD collection. The next one I got, I believe this is like screening a lot of film festivals now. I'm not sure when it comes out to DVD, but when I know anything, I'll let you know. It's called The Green Monster, and I got this to review. This was really cool. The one guy in it he was in Edward X. Young, who was in a short that I did. I was actually becoming a feature with Linnea Quigley a few months ago, and he played like the preacher in that. And he's the lead in this film. It's basically about him and his wife. They work in this convenience store. And it opens with this girl having this baby in the bathroom of the convenience store, throwing away in the dumpster. Then it's very, very cool, weird film though. And he ends up like seeing the girl outside, offering her a ride, and then it becomes really creepy. He starts like yelling at the girl in there, and then he's like, and him and his wife keep talking about throwing people in the Green Monster, which is basically the dumpster. Basically, they kill people and throw them into this dumpster. But he does like voodoo magic and stuff. It can make things that make people, like if they get hurt, they can make them better, like with these chocolates. So he's like, this is very hard to explain, this movie, but it's very cool. And I just can't figure out exactly how to explain it, because it also has these friends, and the one friend ends up getting killed, and then the other friends start investigating it. And Edward X. Young though really stood out in this movie. It's really cool. It was kind of like a Captain Spaulding type character, Bill Moseley type, Chop Top type of character. And the next thing I got is Chuckles' Revenge. It's a Nicole Fiore film. I got this to review, and I have to figure out, it's from chucklesrevenge.com. This is an interesting thing. It's basically like if you ever saw that movie, Who's the Man? It was like an 80s movie or something, and it came out to DVD. It's one of those movies where you can pick and choose what you want to happen. So it's like, Joey did this. Do you want Joey to ditch work? Click the left button. But if you want Joey to go to work, click the right button. It's kind of like that movie. And they did that a lot, I think, with some Laserdisc movies. It was like, oh, let's see if we can do this. Well, this is done with a horror movie, and it's like the movie starts off really weird though. It starts off with Nicole Furio's having her 21st birthday party, and then this clown shows up. It's really weird. And this clown shows up, and they all start giving the clown all this crap, and then they like push the clown on the ground and rape him with a bottle. I'm not kidding. It's real. I'm thinking, what? And then the clown next year comes back. It starts with him like a shot with him like this 1 year later, with this synth music, and then he like starts killing everybody one by one. and you have to like choose to go left or right, or get the gun or not get the gun, and if you go the wrong way, the clown will get you. I mean, it's definitely very interesting. I'd like to see more of these things. I almost felt like making something like this after this. And this one I've had for a while. After this is the Blu-rays. I've had this one for a while and I keep forgetting to talk about it. And it's a Keith Parker film called Shadow People. And I can't remember every detail of this because I watched it so long ago. But you can get this on Torrance Space Films. It's basically, though, about this guy who owes money to this person, and he has to go to this haunted house and film there at night. And it ends up being like this satanic things going on. It's very interesting. I really liked it, though. Now on to the Blu-rays, and I have a bunch here. And the first one I'm still watching, so I wanted to get this thing done because I didn't want to be so late with this again. But I'm still watching this, and it's in Glorious Bastards, and people keep asking, Sean, why didn't you get this? I did. I've had this for a while. I only got to watch the first like 30 minutes, and I've liked it so far. And I know they won for the Screen Actors Guild for Best Ensemble Cast. Now, the next one I got is a Ricky Gervais film, who wrote the original series of The Extras for BBC, and he did the show Extras. Now, he wrote The Office for BBC, and he wrote Extras as well for HBO. I know I make sometimes weird mistakes, like one time I was calling Robin Williams Adam Sandler or something, yes, and then it gets dwelled upon for like weeks. But this movie is The Invention of Lying that he directed, and that basically it's about a world where no one knows how to lie. Like, nobody can lie about anything. All they can do is tell the truth. So if you're on a date, you tell them everything you feel about them, and you don't hold anything back. If someone's ugly, you go, ooh, what an ugly, you know what I mean. But all of a sudden, Ricky Gervais is like at the bank, and he's like withdrawing all of his money because he gets fired from his job. And they ask him, how much money do you have in your bank account? And he knows he only has like $60 or something. And all of a sudden he can lie, and he's like, I think 500 or something. So then he starts using this, and he starts lying about a number of things. This was a very funny movie. This is like out of the comedies that I've seen this year, you know, in 2009, because I know this came out 2009. I saw this in 2010, but I would say this is one of the best comedies of 2009. This, The Hangover, a number of things. The next one I got, everyone kept saying was bad. I wanted to watch it, and I bought a lot of these things with a gift card I got, so I didn't have to pay for a lot of these. But I got this movie with Kate Beckinsale, and I've never seen those movies she's known for, those underworlds. This is called Whiteout, and this was not awful. I mean, the one thing that was weird about this was they did all this, they treated the film, and so like they actually shot this in Canada, out in the snow, but they did all these kind of effects to the background of the snow, and it ended up making it look like they shot half the movie on a green screen when they didn't. So they put all this fake CG snow falling, and they kind of darkened the background. They didn't do it too well. I think they didn't have a whole lot of budget on this, so they had to do it kind of cheap. I would rather they just left the background alone for the most part, because it looked, in the behind the scenes, it looked fine, but it's basically about this group of these people doing work in Antarctica, and there's a killer, like someone gets killed there, and they have to try and track down the killer, and if they don't track down the killer soon, Kate Beckinsale and a few other people are going to get trapped in Antarctica for like 6 months, and it's a problem, so they have to try and find this person, figure out who it is. It wasn't bad, though. Now, this one was nominated for a Golden Globe, and I finally got to see this, and I remember I was at the ArcLight Theater when I was in California on vacation. They had like the suit from this movie on display, and I was wondering, what was this movie? I didn't know anything about it at that point, and it's called The Hurt Locker, and this really was a really good movie. I don't really like a lot of war movies. People always say, why don't you review more war movies? I don't like a lot of war things. I've known people that I went to school with that went to war, and it didn't end well, but this is, it is very well done. It's done the documentary style, it's like sort of shaky cameras, kind of Devil's Rejects, the S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show, kind of like, but it works in this. It really works well. You're watching this thing, you really feel like you're there. I mean, it's done that well. It's not, it feels just like you're there dealing with this. And it's basically the one main guy in this. I kept thinking, what do I know this guy from? I know he's done big stuff lately, but I kept thinking, what do I know him from? And he's from National Lampoon's Senior Trip. He was the main guy in this. And even in Senior Trip, I knew he was a really good actor. But it's him. He's basically one of the people that disarms bombs in the war. But when they have to send people out, he does the things that everyone else is afraid to do. Because the bombs is like the scariest thing. And he's pretty much fearless, and he does this. And it's very well done film. The next one I got is Gerard Butler in Gamer. I mainly got this to see Lloyd Kaufman's cameo in this, but he has like a 1-second cameo, Lloyd Kaufman from Trauma. But this thing was interesting. It's basically like a world where, like, it first starts off with this, in this world you can control people, kind of like that game Second Life or Sims. You can control your character from your house when you're like your computer. Back then they're using their hands. It's like, it's in the future, but you can make them do what you want. But then all of a sudden they take convicts and make you be able to control them killing one another. And the object is to try and survive. And that's basically what Gerard Butler's character is in this. He's getting controlled by this kid in this world, like, you know, everything's getting controlled like that. It's interesting. It's from the directors that did Crank and Crank 2. I mean, it starts off like kind of all over the place with the filming, kind of crazy camera work. Near the end, it gets kind of calmed down. It's almost like the editor or something decided to just calm it down a bit. But it's interesting. It's not the greatest movie, though. A lot of people didn't like it. It does have a, you know, the Running Man kind of feel. It is interesting, though, but not great. The next one I got was The Simpsons Complete 20 Years Collection. And the thing I'm wondering about this is, like, you know, they jumped ahead, you know, like I think like 8 seasons or 6, something like that. So I'm wondering, like, is this, hopefully they're going to continue to putting the other ones out. I'm sure they are, but it makes me wonder, though, are they going to put this season out again? Because it doesn't have, like, all the other ones. In my, you know, Matt Groening was all about, like, we got to have the commentaries, we got to have this, we got to get everyone for the commentaries for every episode and whatnot, and this doesn't have any of that. But, you know, it's in HD. I think the only way to get this, truthfully, is if you don't have, you know, I mean, if you don't have Blu-ray, I would wait, because I feel like they're going to re-release this again, you know, and put features on it down the line. I think they just wanted to get this out there, but it is very good. The show looks great in HD, has a number of cool episodes. A lot of people dislike the show now and say it's gone downhill. I think, you know, this show is hit or miss, though. Some episodes are a little bit, like, not as good, but some of them are really good. There are a couple that I've really liked in the recent seasons. And, you know, the only problem is, like, they've been doing it so long, every so often there's a plot that's very similar to another one. I don't know, though. It's definitely worth picking up on Blu-ray, though. And it's, I don't know. It just makes you wonder how they're going to continue releasing them, though. I guess they're going to put Season 21 out soon. I don't know. I also got Sam Rockwell's The Moon. This is the one I actually saw in the ArcLight Theater. And this is him being put on he basically is put on the moon for like years on end doing this work. And there's a really cool twist in this movie. And I think I talked a little bit about this when they're around the town there in California. I can't remember, though. You can't say too much about it without ruining it, though. But he's out there, and he gets like he's out there doing work because one of the machines is malfunctioning, and he ends up getting like knocked out or something. Then he wakes up in his bed, and there's another version of him talking to him. So it gets very weird what's going on. He can't figure out what's going on. This is a good one. The next one I got, a lot of people hate this thing. It's not very good. It's not the greatest, but like I said, I had the gift card. It's very brutal, and it's Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I mean, my favorite things he's done are The Devil's Rejects and 1,000 Corpses, which I know a lot of people don't like those either. But, you know, I think of them as like decent throwbacks to 80s, 70s and 80s horror movies. That stuff I really like. So, I mean, then this one, I like the stuff with the white horse and stuff. There was a few cool images in this I really liked. I need to watch the uncut version, which makes you wonder, like, how much more brutal could this be? Because it was already, like, beyond brutal. So it makes you really wonder. And the next one, I finally got this. I've wanted to get this for a while, but I didn't want to pay $20, $25. But Target had it on sale. I don't know if it's still on sale, and it's Edward Scissorhands. And it's, you know, Tim Burton's. If you haven't seen this, I mean, like, this is definitely a must-see if you haven't seen it. And I don't think there's really anybody that dislikes this movie. And I know it kind of became like a Hot Topic trend a couple years ago, but it's not anything to take as a trend. It's a really, really good movie. And it's I gotta remember her name right now. Diane West. Her character is like an Avon lady. You never see that going on anymore, but she like sells makeup door to door, and I think she has to like start selling more. So she goes to the house that's like on the end of the block, close to where she lives, and it's like this castle. She goes in there, and she sees Edward Scissorhands' character in there, played by Johnny Depp, and she feels bad for him because he's got scissors for hands. She takes him to live with her family and stay in the house, and she tries to, you know, do makeup on him and fix him up because he's got all these cuts all over his face. And but then things start going bad, you know, little by little. But Edward, though, is there cutting hair. That's his. It's a really, really good movie. And if you haven't seen it, you've got to check this out. The next one, this movie, yet again, is featureless. This movie's never had features, and nor would ever, because I guess no one wants to discuss this movie. For some reason, everybody that made this movie doesn't seem to like this or like speaking of it. And it's The Last Action Hero. It's almost like the unspoken of Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Even though I like it. I mean, it's not the greatest, but it's like this kid it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger is kind of playing himself. It's very strange, though. It's like this kid that it's like a really big fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, and his friend gives him this magic ticket in this theater that's going out of business. I think they shot a couple horror movies in that theater, too. But, the theater's going out of business, and he ends up getting sucked into the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. So he's in there talking to Arnold Schwarzenegger's character in the movie. So it's like, it's not Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's the character, but in the real world, there's Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's very peculiar, and it's hard to explain. I remember, though, the bad guy in this, when I was a kid, used to always scare me, like the Tom Newland. And Tom Newland's movie, though, is coming out next week, which is a must-see, The House of the Devil. It's finally coming out on Blu-ray. I saw it on demand. Love that movie. But this is cheap. You can get it like for $15. Anyway, though, thanks a lot for watching this week's update. I have a few more things I didn't get to talk about, which will be in the next update. And I'll see you next time. And definitely check out the link on the side of the video. And thanks again for subscribing. Almost to 20,000 subscribers. I mean, I really appreciate you all watching these videos. So I'll see you later.